Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. I was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Wednesday morning. Glad you're joining us as the Minnesota Twins opened a long road trip last night in the nation's capital with the worst press box in Major League Baseball. Didn't seem to bother our guy Corey Provis nor the Twins, facing a Nationals team who's about as good as they are. Brooks Lee was great last night. Starts things there with an RBI double. Makes it 2-1. He's up again in the fourth, and then badness from the Nats. Cade Savali doesn't know where to play it. Run comes in. It's 3-1. Royce Lewis adds to the lead with a deep sac fly with the bases loaded. That would score Cody Clemens. Makes it a 4-1 Minnesota lead. Later in the inning, Trevor Larnach is hitting. This is raked into right center. That's going to score 2 runs as Keyshawn and Lee would come in. Twins have blown the game open at 6-1, which was more than enough for Taj Bradley. They would add to the lead in the 8th. Byron Buxton sends one to the moon. That a 3-run home run in the top of the 8th inning, his 11th of the year. That is a meatball, if you've ever seen one. Left up, and he didn't miss it. Twins break them up. Win the opener of this 3-game set in Washington, 11-3. The final. Taj Bradley, 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, and 8 strikeouts. Maintaining his status as the best Twin starter so far in 2026. He's now 4-1 on the year. Brooks Lee with a big night as well. 3 hits and 3 runs driven in. Buxton with a 3-run homer as they take the opener to get to 16-20 on the year. Game 2 coming up tonight from Nationals Park. Bailey Ober will start for Minnesota. Miles Michalakis will go for the Nationals, who's still looking for his first win with an ERA nearly 9 for that one coming up tonight. With that, we say good morning, everybody, and welcome to Hot Mic here on a Wednesday, hump day, the 6th day of May, 2026. I am Dom Izzo, host of said show. Glad you're joining us here on a busy Wednesday. We got a lot to get to today in anticipation of Game 2 of the Wolves and the Spurs. We'll preview that coming up later on in the show. We are never far from football. We're going to chat some of that later on in our program, and a salute coming up shortly to the Bison men's golf team to win a championship in these conditions where they literally have – I don't know if they've played a round outside here this spring. We'll find out coming up later on in the program, but they're taking back to Fargo with them later today a Summit League championship for the second time in program history. We'll get to that in due time. We actually got – I thought on May the 6th we'd be okay talking golf, and then you step outside and it's the field temperature at the bus stop today was 31. So I guess I wasn't safe on that, but we are, I think, about 7 weeks out from the Bell Bank Red River Amateur Championship coming back to Moorhead Country Club. We'll give you the full details on that. We're proud to be doing that, I believe, for the 6th year now, coming up in the end of June. So we'll chat some golf coming up later on in the show. But let's start with what was going on in Denver. You want to talk about bad weather. The Mets and the Rockies were supposed to play last night. The game was postponed because of snow. Not because of rain, snow. In fact, for the wild media that covered the series out there, they may not be getting back. There's a winter weather alert for the city of Denver today because of the amount of snowfall they got yesterday. In fact, the Mets and Rockies are supposed to play tonight. But in terms of inside, and pardon the cliche and the pun, the avalanche has fallen on the Minnesota Wild. After a game on Sunday night where they gave up 9 goals, you could see it was snowing outside, and frankly, this team has not had any answer to Colorado yet. They come in waves. Philip Gustafsson got the start, his first game in 3 weeks. His first shot he faced went in. Backhand goal from Colorado's Martin Nices made it 1-0. Now, there was reason for optimism. The Wild answered back 6 seconds later with Kirill Kaprizov scoring to knot the game up at 1. That is a nifty way, by the way, to stay on sides. Great pass from Ryan Hartman. But the Wild penalty kill, we thought it was bad against Dallas. It might be worse here against the Avalanche. That's Gabriel Landeskog parked right in front. Mind you, John Hines, the Wild head coach, was the Team USA special teams coordinator at the Olympics, where the United States was perfect on the penalty kill. They're not so great in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Colorado adds on it. Nicholas Waugh makes it 3-1. I heard it last night described. It's a perfect description of the Avalanche. They just skate downhill. It feels like every time they're on the ice, they've got a man advantage, including taking linesmen into the Wild bench. It was 3-1 Colorado after 2. Same score here. Look out, another power play. Nathan McKinnon, you may have heard of him, wires home that. It's 4-1. McKinnon was the guy who was furious with the stuffed animals after the gold medal game for Team Canada when they were getting their silver medals. The Wild got it within 2 on this Marcus Johansson goal as he was parked out in front, but the Avalanche did it again. Get an empty netter here. That made it 5-2. That was the final. Avalanche have scored 14 goals in the first 2 games of this series. I know they got 9 in game 1, but you ain't going to beat them if you're giving up 5. Gustafsson was not the answer last night. In fact, I don't know if anything was the answer last night for Minnesota. He gave up 4 goals on just 22 shots. That's not great. And now Colorado is 6-0 in the Stanley Cup playoffs as they win both games out in Denver. And for the Wild, no answers yet with 3 days off before Game 3.
I thought Gus gave us a chance to win. You know, it was, the difference in the game was, the special teams. That's what it basically comes down to.
John, I mean, obviously, you can't make Jonas Brodin miraculously appear, but your second pair right now, Jake's been on for 9 goals, Jared for 8. How do you rectify that situation right now when you know that Jonas probably isn't coming to save the day?
Yeah, I think you may look at some different combinations. I think we have a little bit of time here to look at that. Could be some things individually with some guys, but I think it's certainly they're 2 excellent players for us, and I think they can be better. And that's I think we'll be able to use this time a little bit wisely. We came in and I would say the 5-on-5 game from game 1 to game 2 was significantly better. Special teams were a difference in the game tonight. And then I think when it comes down to individual players, you got a little bit of time now to kind of go through some things and see if we can help those guys get to the level that they can be and we need them to be.
Can we just pump the brakes and say he thought Gustafsson was good last night? Because I don't know if I was watching the same game last night that Hines was, because that did not jive when I heard that. That's why I picked that soundbite to play here this morning. So it's 2-rip. And you heard me right. There's 3 days off. It might take that long to get out of Denver because of the weather. No game tonight. No game Thursday. No game Friday. The Minnesota Frost are playing in their postseason as well. They played a triple overtime game last night to the Frost. So game 3 is Saturday night in St. Paul, 8 o'clock on TNT, with game 4 to follow after that on Monday, which suddenly might become the season or bust, because the way the Avalanche are going right now, they're not losing any games. The up-to-date playoff bracket in the NHL, that was the only game last night. Vegas and Anaheim will play game 2 coming up tonight. Vegas won game 1 of that series. Meanwhile, the Canadiens and Sabres will finally start. Montreal had to go 7 games to beat Tampa. Buffalo's been sitting around here for a few days after the Boston Bruins. And then you've got Carolina up 2 games to none in Philadelphia after the Hurricanes won both games convincingly in Game 1, and then they won in overtime in Game 2 over the Flyers. So those are the final 8, and the Wild have some work to do. They look slow. They look, last night, I don't know, disinterested is not the right word. They just looked like they had tapped out of that game. Might be wrong. I'm not a great hockey mind as I used to be, but it seemed to me that was Colorado at full gas, and the Wild had spent everything on Sunday night. And now you've got, again, you heard Michael Russo from The Athletic asking John Hines about Jonas Brodin and Joel Eriksson Ek, who are both out. Brodin seems like that's a complete moonshot that he's going to get back and play anytime soon. Eriksson Ek, we don't know. Maybe a lot. That's the thing. Like, we talk about the difference between the 2 leagues in the NBA and the NHL, where the NBA has to give, much like football, precise injury updates because of gambling. How many updates do we get Monday on Anthony Edwards? At least 3 before the game. Hockey, you don't have to say anything. Literally nothing to the media, anyone, to find out if a guy's going to go or not. You know? Like McDavid was playing with a broken foot. We found out 2 days after the Oilers got beat. Again, that is the code of hockey. You can roll your eyes at it, applaud it, however you feel about it. But that is the stark line between the 2 sports, where Io DeSumu's calf injury, he's questionable. He got upgraded from doubtful to questionable in their status update that the Wolves put out yesterday. The Wild, I mean, guy's head could be falling off. We have no idea what the exact injury is. Or leg could be shattered and have no idea. That's just how they roll. So regardless of guys who are out there or not, Wild just have to play better. They've just been completely outclassed in the first 2 games. Colorado has rolled unbeaten. And frankly, I don't know can I use this term? I'm probably too old. Who's more of a wagon right now? The Avalanche are 6-0 and the Thunder are 6-0 and have dusted everybody that they've played so far. Or the Thunder are 5-0. That was game 1 last night against the Lakers. Either way, neither have been tested. Yeah, I mean, Colorado trailed for all of, a minute and a half of game 1 against Minnesota. It's just been a boat race so far. So we'll see what happens when the series comes back to the Twin Cities Saturday night for game number 3. Last thing before we get going here on a busy Wednesday, congratulations to the Bison men's golf team. Dr. Ekron Miller, who we had on the show this summer when he got the job as the new Bison men's golf coach, comes in and leads North Dakota State to a Summit League championship, the second in program history, the first in 8 years. 2018 was the last time the Bison won a Summit men's golf championship. They did it yesterday, winning by 5 shots over Denver. Denver was coming hard as well yesterday to rally and win this thing. Bison got 3 golfers inside the top 10. All 5 of them finished inside the top 20. Andrew Ballou, freshman, 2 rounds in the 60, 68 and 66 yesterday to lead NDSU. 4 birdies, 1 bogey, had an eagle as well at the 17th. We'll chat about. Fargo's Gabe Benson goes 74, 66 in the second round, 72 yesterday. Freshman Carter White shot 69 yesterday in the final round. Fargo's Jake Scarperud was just consistent, 73, 71, 72. Fertile, Minnesota's Riley Petrie, 73, 73, 71. Bison ended up beating Denver, who was in, obviously, its last Summit League championship. Nobody wanted to see Denver win. They're off now to the West Coast Conference. They can do whatever they want there. But the Bison win it, they will be the automatic qualifier out of the Summit League and are going to the NCAA regionals, which are beginning on May the 18th. There's a couple sites they potentially could go to. Bison just won in Arizona. They could go back to Arizona. There's one in Oregon. They could be going there. We'll find out later today. 1 o'clock on the Golf Channel is the selection show. If you didn't know that, yes, there are selection shows for golf as well for the NCAA regionals. And we'll be visiting with a member of the Bison golf team coming up later on in the show. But congratulations to them on what was a fantastic run over the last 3 days at Longbow Golf Club in Mesa, Arizona for what they did. And again, I'm almost 100% sure here that they had not played any competitive rounds of golf here this year. They may have gotten in one or two, but nothing full. Like they have the indoor practice facility where they're able to hit shots. They've got the indoor putting greens inside the shack, but that's it. So the fact they were able to go and do this, even more impressive. And they were runner-ups last year. They were knocking on the door, and finally they've knocked it down. And so their golf season is not over. Congrats to them. And for NDSU, that's another championship. Add to the basketball title they won in men's basketball, the women's basketball regular season title. Now this, been a heck of a year for Bison sports. They've, you could say what you will about football and the year they had, and obviously winning the Missouri Valley Football Conference Championship, but lost in the first round of the FCS playoffs. All around, though, when you look at it, you want to have health in all your sports. And granted, some of them, we'll see what happens. Softball starts its Summit League tournament today. They had their best regular season finish in a number of years. They finished third. Baseball's having a tough go this year, but it's coming off them winning the tournament championship last spring. Track is going to kill it, I know, next week in the Summit League tournament here in town. We can automatically check that off. Been a pretty good run here. What's going on with the sports up on the north side of town. We have a packed show coming up for you here today on this Wednesday. Our guest lineup is brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. Coming up in just a few minutes, Drew Trafton will join us as he does each and every Wednesday. We've got some news around the world of college football to discuss, including something preposterous that a former guest of ours shared this morning. We'll get to that coming up in just a few minutes. At 9:35, we'll welcome back Chris Howell to the show, head pro at Moorhead Country Club. He knows some of those Bison guys. We'll visit with him about that. And also getting ready for this year's Bell Bank Red River Amateur Championship back at Moorhead Country Club, which you'll see live here on WDAY Extra. We'll chat with Goose coming up at 9:35. Our second hour, Gabe Benson from now the Summit League champion Bison golf team, Fargo Davies product. He's now got 2 championships in his back pocket. He won the MIAC championship a couple years ago at Concordia. Now he's a Summit League champion at North Dakota State. That's pretty good stuff. We'll visit with Gabe coming up at 10. And at 10:35, Dan Larson will join us, NDSU football offensive coordinator from the road somewhere. He's off recruiting to give us an update on how the recruiting wars are going, how spring ball came through. It's always good to talk with Lars. We'll do that at 10:35 before we say goodbye here on a busy Wednesday morning. That, we'll give a full Game 2 preview, Wolves and the Spurs tonight, and why Chris Finch thinks there's about 8 goaltends that weren't called in the game last night. You heard we were talking about that with Kyle Teague yesterday. Chris Finch had something to say about that. We'll hear from him coming up later on in the show. So, a lot to get to here today on a busy Wednesday. We'll take our first break. Hot Mic is off and rolling. Back after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com.
The biggest Seahawks, Sounders, and Mariners fan in the FM area. It's time for Views with Drew.
All right, Drew Trafton is here. Good to see you, my man.
Hey, good to see you.
So we had Brett McMurphy on the show a couple weeks ago after you were on. As college football reporter for the On 3 Network.
We usually follow each other on shows.
You set everybody up. You're the table setter, man, leadoff hitter. And he was great, gave us a full breakdown of how the bowl stuff works. And he's been, I would say, rather bullish on NDSU and its opportunity to be successful at the FBS
Yeah,
level.
and you see those like kind of those fringe articles pop up every now and then about like the team that
they're going to be favored in every game.
Yeah.
That's what Brett said.
Right.
In every game, that the Bison are going to be favored in 2026.
That is a take in March and April.
Well, he went one step further this morning on his website because he teased it with us that, hey, I'm going to have my bowl projections out, and he said it to me on the show. Keep an eye on it because I think your viewers and listeners will be intrigued to see where I have the Bison pick. Well, lo and behold, now this is a pay website. This morning, he put out the projections, and he has North Dakota State in the college football bleeping playoff?
That is...
Playoff?
Hey.
What?
I mean, yeah, and... without
you don't have to defend it. Just sit there and
playing a game
at it, man.
Yeah, it's like they haven't played a game yet, so it's kind of it's academic at this point. But if you're expecting, here's the thing, like, and I'll defend this for a second. Like, if you're expecting them to compete for the Mountain West, that is the conversation.
Correct.
If that means that they're somewhere in the top 20 floating around or the top 15 and they're, like that becomes the conversation, which is wild that we would be, like I'm envisioning like just the branding of college football playoff with the NDSU logo, and it's just like, that is crazy. But, it's the world the timeline that we are now on.
So what McMurphy wanted to have accomplished, he has accomplished because we're talking about it here today. Also, he's got it where every other Mountain West school certainly will have this up somewhere.
I can't imagine. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
If this was, again, last year's Bison team, I would feel a little differently. I'm like, maybe, because I think they were going to be, this is a different... And again, this is not to demean this crew, but I do think there are certain question marks they have at positions that we don't have answers to on May 6th.
It's May, and that's the way it is pretty much every year. There are some seasons where you're like load to bear, and you're like, like they're going to be,
like 2024. I knew the Bison were going to be good.
Right.
I thought they are going to be really, really good. Last year, I thought they were going to be really, really good.
Yeah, in the key positions.
Yes.
And you saw the athleticism, and you knew where it was coming.
I got to know who's catching the ball.
Right.
I mean, they got one guy I know who can do it. After that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Who's playing on the back end at cornerback? I don't know that yet. But either way. He has the Bison playing at Oregon in the first round of the college football playoff, which is just, by the way, right now, they're not even eligible yet.
Right.
That has to happen tomorrow.
We gotta get past tomorrow's vote.
The vote is tomorrow to see if actually they are playoff and postseason eligible for any of this thing. Now, granted, we all think that's a fait accompli, that it's going to happen, but it hasn't happened yet.
Right. Yeah.
My word. That is, I saw that this morning. I got a tip that this was coming. Like, hey, you may want to talk about this on your show this morning. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, cool. What bowl would it go to?
Right.
No.
Yeah. Don't worry about that.
My word.
Can you? I'm trying to think of just like outside of the direct football implications of that all. Like, like the that put like the community in such a shell shock. I feel like it's like what would that feel like in town?
That would be
like
an
buzz.
earthquake. That would be an earthquake there if that happened.
Right. Like just across the region. It would just be like the shot across the bow. I think about the other schools in our proximity too. Like, SDSU is already, it's like just the conversation of FBS has changed since the Bison have moved, have moved up. And it's like, does that really like springboard those other schools, like, hey, we've got to get up there.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's a different situation, obviously, but it's just like that is that'd be such a titanic shift in like the power dynamics of college football at the FBS level to have a newbie come in and scrape that right away.
I already can hear some of the fan conversation beyond this show. Like, well, how hard was it? NDSU was able to go do it their first year, because I'm sure for the schools that you just mentioned and feel like they're getting left behind. Like, wow, how hard was it that NDSU was able to? I mean, I'm not ready to go down that that pipe yet. We got all summer.
Yeah.
I just thought that I saw that like, wow, that's
But then for the community at large, like the college football community at large, you're talking
crazy.
about the size of this football playoff and whether those G6 conferences should have a seat at the table.
Well, it's funny you say that because the article that Ross Dellinger put out yesterday that the AFCA, the American Football Coach Association, which Craig Bohl is the president of, signed off on. They want to see the playoff expanded to 24 to eliminate the conference championship games and have the season done by the second week of January.
Yeah.
Now, the fact that we're now to 24 is radical because I thought 16 we had all kind of coalesced around like we're going to be good on that. Now we're blowing that up. We heard Kirby Smart, the head coach of Georgia, say they want to get rid of the SEC conference championship game, which, okay, if he's saying it, there might be some weight to it. It's not like the coach at Massachusetts saying it. It's the coach at Georgia. The one that's preposterous to me is to be done by the second week of January. I don't know how they accomplish
I was thinking about that too. Because I read that yesterday or like last night, and I was trying to do the math in my head, and it's like, man, from a TV standpoint, how it's like, where do you put those? Like, and obviously ESPN will find spots, but it's just like what gets
can
bumped,
they?
what
Because here's the thing: when the NFL, we all think it's going to be full go to 18, and we think it's going to happen next year. I don't know how early this can happen. You know what I mean? They have contracts with those conferences that this may not happen.
Yeah.
Let's just arbitrarily say 2030.
Right.
So if the NFL's gone to 18, we certainly think by then it's going to happen. Maybe they can because they like to play on that Monday night.
Yeah.
That maybe the NFL, I don't think they'll ever give up Monday Night Football, but maybe they can make that work. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know either, except that I don't think it would. I mean, it wouldn't have gotten out like at this point unless they have an idea of how this thing's going to come together. But and everything with college football over the last 10 years, like, every time we've talked playoff expansion, it happens. And it happens sooner than a lot of people think too, But you're right, like getting out of these contracts and everything is tough. But if they want it to happen, it'll happen.
So this is the article from Dellinger. The most discussed 2014 model is an all at-large field determined through the CFP rankings with an automatic spot for the group of 6 leagues, which is important now for NDSU fans to recognize that is still going to be there. The format adds 1 playoff round and 12 additional games. It's just the amount of money for that is going to be astronomical.
Yes.
The top 8 ranked playoff teams would receive a first-round bye, while seeds 9 through 24 play in the first round on campus.
Yeah, which is a huge component of that too, because that's something that I know a lot of people have said, like they want to keep that element of those first round games being hosted.
So conference championship games would be eliminated, and the playoff presumably would start immediately after the regular season. So the last week of the FBS regular season is Thanksgiving. Yeah. So that first week of December now would be the first round of the playoff games.
Like the FCS.
Correct. A long-discussed shift in the postseason calendar opened a path for the national title game, now played the third week of January, to return to the second Monday in the month. Which, granted, I mean, the NFL's going to have a say in that, right? These two entities don't talk to one another. They got to get on the same page to say, we want to schedule here. Will you work with us?
Yeah.
I mean, Roger Goodell's going to give him the finger and say, no, we own this.
Yeah. And but in this world of streaming, in these, like these different, you have unlimited space on, ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
And it's like, do they have enough cachet on some of these streamers to be like, okay, we're going to lay out like all those first round games are only streamed, and here's where you find them.
So they've already sub-licensed games to TNT. Like TNT has a semifinal this year, a college football playoff semifinal and a quarterfinal. So they've already given out a little bit, which I imagine they would again. But this opens up to everybody, like to Fox, NBC. You want in? Hey, there's 12 games that are going to be coming your way. That's a lot of cash out there.
Yeah, and they'll go. I mean, they'll buy it.
I am fascinated by this. I am. I'm just really interested to see who's going to plant their flag where. The NFL's already saying we're going to 18, that the season's going to get elongated. So now that we know, like right now, the first Sunday in January is normally the last regular season week. That would now become week 17, right? So under this scenario, right?
Okay.
Week 18.
17?
Week 18 doesn't have a Monday night game. So if they're under that scenario, this would work. they could play their championship game the day after the NFL regular season.
They expand to 18 regular season games.
I would assume they move up a week, right?
Yeah.
They would start Labor Day weekend.
Yep.
Right?
Do they have to build in an extra bye week? Do they shorten the preseason to
maybe
2 games or 1 game, and then
we're solving the NFL
in
scheduling issue here?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that
and if we can do it,
but that would be one way you could get around it.
Yeah.
There, I don't know. Man. That to me is the crux of it all, because if they want to hang on Monday night, they got to find a Monday night where the NFL's agreeable not to play.
Live events, especially football.
Oh gosh, yeah.
That is the coin of the realm.
Yep.
When it comes to ratings, and it's the last safe bet in town.
Meanwhile, the FCS championship game would say, "Hey, we like that Monday." Or I don't know what.
Yeah, that got blown out. That'll get blown out of the water. Where does that live? Is it going to be like?
Because this year they're asking to move back a week.
Yeah.
Because of the NFL being later, they want to move their playoff back, so it's going to be 3 weeks back again for the FCS between the semis and the championship, because they didn't want to go up. Obviously, you don't want to go to Monday Night Football. That ain't going to work. So what do they do?
Right. And where does that game land where people can watch it? At that point.
Yes.
It's going to be
constant thing we talked about on the show about that. Great stuff, bud. Thanks for coming by as always.
Hey,
appreciate it.
me.
Drew Trafton joins us each and every Wednesday. We solve the NFL scheduling 18 games
just
right
a
here.
thing
we did that. Very good stuff. Let's talk some golf. We come back. Our guy Chris Howell will join us here in studio. Get us ready for the Bell Bank Red River Amateur Championship coming back. That's the sunny skies we want to see sometime soon. That's coming up when we come back. All right, welcome back, everybody. Hot mic off and rolling here on a Wednesday morning, the first Wednesday of May, which I was fully set for our next guest. Hey, come in. Here we go. It's going to be sunny and 60. Everybody's out playing golf, and I was at the bus stop, Chris Howell, with my little man today. I looked at the temperature. It was feel like 34. I'm like, it's not necessarily golf weather out there this morning.
No, the tee sheet's been very, very quiet the last few days.
It's great to see him. Moorhead head pro joining us at Moorhead Country Club. Chris Howell joins us. We've made this an annual thing. We're looking forward. The Red River Ram is here about 6-7 weeks away.
Yeah,
we're getting close.
We're a little later this year in the season, end of June, but
with Father's Day being a little bit later, you guys are a week after that.
But that's not a bad thing for us. We've always battled weather.
Yes.
The farther, the deeper we get into June, I think the better the weather is going to be, right? Those rain chances start to go away. Knock on wood there, but hopefully this helps us avoid a.
Well, let's see. 2 of the last 3 years, 3 years ago, we had rain every day.
Yep.
Last year we had a tornado come through during the tournament.
At least that was after we were done for the day, right? But it did make us push tee times back the next day, which.
I remember I texted you is there any damage? Like, no, but we got a lot of water.
Yeah.
And that ended up obviously holding. But you know what? We got it through and had a great event. Before we get to that, I want to ask you what the Bison men's golf team just did. I don't know if they've played any competitive rounds around here this spring. So the fact they went and just won the Summit League Championship, how impressive is that?
Not that I know of them playing any competitive rounds up here. I don't even know, outside of their facility. Thankfully, they have that fantastic facility to get rounds in. And, the update in their schedule, being able to travel more to the southern areas, a lot of Arizona golf to get reps in and rounds in and get competitive rounds in. But to win the Summit without, do they have a round on their home golf course this year?
I don't believe so. Not since probably the fall.
I mean, sounds like Fargo Country Club opened the golf course last Tuesday. So, to go out and win it.
Right.
And it kind of looked like, when I was looking at it yesterday, it was kind of a no-doubter. They were kind of leading wire to wire. Everything looked good the whole time. They were 6 shots up on Denver going into Sunday and just stayed there.
Yeah, and Denver is...
I shouldn't say Sunday. I should say third round. I'm just used to Sunday.
Correct.
But.
Denver was routinely been the powerhouse in this league, and they're leaving for them to... And two freshmen that played that well, especially on the final round.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot 66 and 69 on the final day of a tournament championship. That's some stones. I'll just say that.
It is. Yeah. The future's bright for the Bison in golf. Really bright.
We're going to see a few of them actually playing at Moorhead, right?
Yeah,
at the end of
I
June.
think we got most of them.
Awesome.
You know, Petrie, right, he's not the freshman, but the defending champ,
Yep.
Ryland, will be back to
Awesome.
play, so that's exciting.
Course record holder. It would be good to have him back.
64. That was impressive and competitive.
Course
golf.
record has followed each of the last 2 years of that
Yeah,
event. So.
yeah. I mean, it'd be fun to see it happen again, but God, just to think 63, I don't know if that's out.
Boy, that'd be a
is.
heck of a round.
Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't.
Yeah. So congrats to them on what they got done. There's also been some major golf news locally. I wanted to get your 2 cents on that. Scotty Scheffler is going to play at the 3M Open at the end of July.
That.
I saw. How is that happening?
I don't know.
Because he doesn't need to play the 3M Open, right?
No. And I don't know if it's just fit in the schedule.
Yeah.
His family wanted to do something. Maybe the Mall of America is a big drop for the Scheffler family.
He's got 2 young ones, right? Yeah.
Or maybe there was some money involved. You know,
I imagine they
I
probably,
think a sponsor
right?
probably paid him. We'd love you to be here. We'll give you X to be here, but
Because that's the week after the British Open,
It
if I
is.
remember right.
It is.
Granted,
That's
these guys are flying private as it is,
It
but
is.
still.
But that's a big get to get
Oh
the
my
world
gosh.
number 1 to come play the 3M
Right?
Open.
That's fantastic.
Really starts to legitimize that event.
Yes. I thought it's already a big-time deal, and it's been really neat that Tom has went and played and
Yep.
played well down there. But you get world number 1 there, that's going to get the average, the guy that doesn't watch golf all the time, but they know him.
Yep.
They'll go out and watch him.
And I think for I think the spectators, you know, going in, the patrons going to watch it live has been great, but I think that just elevates it too, just to get that next level. I think you'll get more people chomping at the bit to go down to the Twin Cities to watch.
I feel like every year I have you in, and there's another live update. It seems like we may have the final update here, that it looks like it's DOA. So in your mind, what happens to Bryson? What happens to John Rahm said it on Tuesday, Monday, his contract, there's no getting out of that. I mean, can they come back to the PGA Tour or no?
It sounds, you know, they didn't take that opportunity that Olive Branch at the tour gave them this year. So I really don't know their road back. Bryson's interviewing YouTube Golf and trying to play the PGA Tour. I don't know.
I ain't gonna work.
What the heck's he doing? How's that gonna work? And I don't. Even with the tour dissolved, the live dissolved, does that mean Rahm can't get out of his contract?
Right. Not without some, and also there's going to be some severe financial penalties. But the PGA is going to say, "Hey, that you did this.
Right.
We're not going to welcome back with." But they need them.
They do need them. They do need them.
Yeah.
You wish it could be just purely black and white. You guys made your choice, but in the grand scheme, John Rahm, Bryson, Joaquin Niemann. There's a handful of guys.
Yeah. The rest of the guys, they fall apart.
They do.
Goose. I mean, Dustin Johnson can't play golf anymore.
No.
Which is crazy to say, you know, but that's wild.
I also think he might not care.
You're probably right.
Like his personality.
That's his MO. Yeah.
When it's done, he'll maybe just be done playing golf, and he'll be fine with it. But a handful of guys would be great to have back on tour to make it a little more elevated. But for the most part, those players don't matter.
I guess maybe the warning signs were out there when Koepka decided he was going to come back, and obviously there was some severe financial penalties he had to go through. Like he can't earn any FedEx Cup points. Granted, the guy's not hurting for any dollars, right? But I don't know. Maybe we should have seen something coming when Brooks decided last offseason that he was going to to
and
the
then
PGA
Patrick
Tour.
Reed too, right? He's doing it a little different way. He couldn't quite go that same route as Koepka. He had to go on the why can't I think of the name? The European.
The DFW Tour, right?
Yep.
Or DPW Tour. Yep. So, and that's a different route. Obviously, he has to come back.
And maybe that's how Bryson and Rahm can do it, is get back that same way that Reed got here.
Just going to be really interesting to see what transpires there with professional golf over the next little bit. We got a major next week as well. The PGA is outside of Philly, if I remember right.
Is it at the Philadelphia Cricket Club? I don't even
remember
where we're at.
Are we okay with the PGA being there, or would you like it back in August?
So,
this hits so close to home as a head pro. I'm curious your thoughts on
the
this.
PGA, right? It's our championship.
Yeah, right.
It's not that I'd ever qualify, but it's one as a PGA.
Hey, come on!
It's one as a PGA professional, right? There's a route
you have a chance to get there. Yep.
You know, some PGA professionals have different day-to-day tasks where mine's a lot more operational, and some get to go play golf.
I always ask you that, how much golf you actually get to play.
You know, I'm 36 holes in for the year, so we're on a
that's
good
pretty
spot.
Good.
So the PGA, right? I think it's nice to have a major every month.
Yes.
I do think it loses some of its luster not being the last one. I think there was something to be said.
I agree with you.
I'm an Open Championship. That's my favorite, and then it's probably the Masters, U.S. Open, and PGA Championship. With the PGA Championship being the final one, it had that this is your final chance to win a major. So I think it had a little more, at least maybe pull for the viewer. Like, this is the final opportunity for a major. Now being second in line, I don't think it quite hits the same being second instead of last.
Yeah, and I think, at least for me, I can remember being out here when the PGA came to Hazeltine in August. And that's when, granted, Tiger got beat that time.
Yep.
But that was like the perfect end of summer. Like, okay, at the end, football's here, and then we'll see golf again in the Masters next April. It feels lost on the calendar to me.
I agree.
Because I don't know if I'll set aside a whole lot of time unless there's somebody I'd like to watch that's winning next weekend when it's getting played.
With the right field and right leaderboard, makes it okay.
Or
but
cool
if that
course that maybe I know a little bit about. Yeah.
But I also don't see having it this time of year. Is Hazeltine ever a good fit again?
That's a good call.
Look at the weather we're having right now.
I don't think so.
It could be fantastic, but it might be awful.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I think they're going to Frisco either next year or the year after, which you can't play in August.
You can't play in August. You can't play in August.
I mean, you can try and play in May, but I know the LPGA did it, and it was horrible when they had it there a couple years ago. So that's the PGA's headquarters now.
It is. And I think, that's great that they're going to introduce that course and everybody's going to get to see it. But I do think that the PGA Championship needs to find an identity on like what type of golf course they want to have host their events. You look at the U.S. Open; it's old, historic courses. It seems like every year, and it's been fantastic. There's so much new golf course architecture design out there where I think that would be a great fit for the PGA Championship is to find a rotation where it's introducing these new fantastic golf courses to the public.
You like the new PGA Tour commish? He's from the NFL.
I don't know enough about him. I haven't paid enough attention to give you an honest answer on that.
They're revamping the schedule.
They are.
Because that, to me, I would look at, like, they used to have we got to go to break here. The players used to be, they had it in May for a little bit. I would do that. I'd be okay, because if they're going to... If they're going to expand the football season, college basketball is going to move back, then who's paying attention to the Players' Championship in March? Move that to May. And then put the PGA back in August. There we go.
And football's always number one, right?
Correct.
Like, no matter what, football is going to be one.
Yes. But it's not like golf is sagging right now. Golf ratings are as high as they've ever been right now.
They're good right now.
People are watching a ton. We hope they're going to be watching next month. There's our segue. We'll break. We come back. Goose is going to give us an update on the field that's coming to Moorhead at the end of August for this year's Red River Amateur Championship presented by Bell Bank. We'll do that. We wrap up hour one of Hot Mike on WDAY Extra right after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Wrapping up our first hour, back with Goose Howell joining us as we get set for another year. The Bell Bank Red River Amateur Championship comes up at the end of June, a little later on the calendar this year after Father's Day. So we're going first round, June 26th, I want to say? 25th or 26th? I should know that since we're on the air.
Friday, June 26th will be the first day.
It's my dad's birthday. So the 26th or the 28th will be out at Moorhead Country Club. Hot Mike will be back out there. That's become an annual tradition. And one of the guys who's going to be in the field is actually up next. Gabe Benson from NDSU's golf team will join us in our next segment. He's part of the field. And you got an updated list. We got another heavy hitter leaderboard coming to Moorhead Country Club, right?
Every year it seems like the field just gets a little bit stronger, a little bit deeper, and you're going to have to golf your ball just to make the Friday cut, the Saturday cut.
And play on Sunday.
Yeah, you're going to have to play some really good golf to make sure you're playing Sunday with the depth of this field.
Is this now, when we talked a couple years ago when you came in on word of mouth spreading, is it beyond that now that the television aspect has maybe reached maybe more than you thought?
I would think there's got to be some aspect of that. I don't know enough on that, and I don't know where the numbers are and how we pull that data, but... Yeah, the television aspect is a really, really special ad. I don't know. I think we've talked about this before outside of like major amateur golf, like the U.S. Amateur or like the Junior Amateur.
Yep.
How many other are broadcasting an event? And with WDAY Extra and then being able to pull it up on your computer anywhere, you can watch anywhere in the world. This is a really cool cool thing for players to be able to be on TV playing golf.
See, I'm looking at the video from last year. The course, I know, doesn't look like that yet, but it's gonna, and it looks fantastic, and we can't wait to be back out there. Last year, for the first time, the women's champ finished under par. I mentioned Petrie shot a course record. I mean, scoring has been fantastic.
It has
over the
been
last couple
fantastic,
years.
yeah. The golf course, the conditions were really good for scoring last year, right? It
got wet, so it got
was a little softer, right?
Mm-hmm.
The greens were really good, so it helps those. For the ladies, we could maybe make the golf course long, but for the caliber of men, our golf course caps at 6,650 yards. It's a short golf course for a really good high-level amateur. And then when it gets soft, it's really pretty easy for those guys. So hopefully we're not quite as soft. It can play a little firmer, which will hopefully challenge them.
I know the board is always trying to tweak things. Have they got word to you of anything that they want to do a little differently for 2026? Is that still in the planning right now?
Maybe it's still a little planning. We'll try to keep. One of the things we like is we've kind of, adjusted it. We've got our Sunday hole locations, which make it really fun on that final day.
Outside of 15, that's diabolical, man. That's really hard.
You know what? So I think, again, going back to the caliber of player, if they're going for it in 2, right, it should be a little more risk. But if they're laying up, for them to be able to hit a wedge from 100 yards into that location should be really easy for that. Add TV, you're in the hunt,
and there's people around, right? Good gallery.
It's a tougher shot under the condition, and a normal Friday, they're hitting that shot probably at 10 feet every time. I think one thing we will do set up for men, though, is just we got to make it as long as we possibly can, right? Well, we can play with the ladies' yardage on the first couple of days to shorten it up to make it a little more approachable for everybody, and then make it a little more difficult on Sunday.
Are you going to get close to where you have to say no? Hey, we are capped. This is or maybe even reduce how many people you want to get, because the women's field keeps getting bigger. You were telling me.
I hope so. Yeah. I hope we get to the point where we get to turn people away. It's never fun to say no to people, especially but it means you're doing something right. If there's that much interest in getting in the field, and you have to start turning people away. This year we did kind of put a soft cap on it, where we're trying to hold 10-ish or so spots in case. I don't know if we'll get them, but let's say Josh Person calls us up and says, I want to play in it because it fits into my schedule now. I want to have a spot for him.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
So there's people out there like that we'd still like to get in our event that aren't playing, that we got to just try to hold some spots for just in case.
And when is maybe your cutoff to say, okay, that we got to know by here if you're going to play or not?
June 1.
Year. Okay.
June 1 gives us plenty of time. And that kind of, 3 to 4 weeks out gives us enough time to make sure we're filling the field with the best possible players.
So it's May 6th, and you mentioned you've played 36 holes. How's the course looking right now, despite how cold it is?
The course is fantastic. Okay. The greens and fairways came out of winter really, really well. Now we just, some of the pole is still under dormancy. We need some heat would be nice. Would be good, just to wake it up. And it looks like finally next week we're going to get some temps set.
But it's been really dry. Is that... You need some precipitation as well, or no?
We got the irrigation system turned on last week, I think Thursday, Friday, so we should be able to get all the water to where we need to get water, but nothing's as good as Mother Nature. Rain is better than us pulling water from the river, so... Yes, it'd be nice to get some rain.
And it'd be nice to do it between now and the middle of June. And then after that, we can cut the faucet off. We're all set,
right?
We'd
like a week or two of pretty dry weather where we can control how much moisture is on the golf course and get it where we want it.
It's great to see you, man. Thanks so much for coming by. We'll do this again when we get closer to the tournament, and looking forward to doing this again. It's been a great partnership, and we're looking forward to bringing the tournament home starting at the end of June.
Be fantastic. Can't wait.
Thanks, bud.
Right,
Goose Howell joining us here, Moorhead Country Club head pro. We also solved the PGA Tour. We're solving all sorts of scheduling issues today. We got that accomplished here. Move the PGA back to August is what we say.
I'm gonna submit a something for payment for the PGA. Since we got this solved, let's make.
Let me know to get back to you on that. Right. Speaking of golf, we come back. The Summit League champs reside in Fargo. Gabe Benson from Fargo Davies High School joins us. We come back.
This is Hot Mike.
Hot Mike.
On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2, ready to rock and roll here on a Hump Day Wednesday. Keep the golf theme going. Our thanks to Goose Howell for coming by. We mentioned off the top of the show The North Dakota State men's golf team won the Summit League Championship yesterday in Mesa, Arizona for the second time in program history. They accomplished that feat. Last time they did was 2018. Our next guest, only time he's on the show, he's winning championships. Gabe Benson won the MIAC championship for Concordia a couple years ago, transferred to NDSU, and now, right before his collegiate days are done, he's got a Summit League championship in his back pocket as well. And he joins us bright and early from before they had an airplane to head back home this morning. It's great to see you, bud. Congratulations. Just tell me about the last 3 days. Why was this the best 3 days for Bison Golf?
Thank you. Yeah, it's great to be on. I think we all are kind of committed to the process. I think we got to play in a golf course that I think a lot of people like, and just where we're at as a conference and ranking, like this tournament is really important. That's the only way to advance. And I think we're a team that's pretty resilient, and I think other teams that may like bother them, all the pressure or this pressure that you feel. But I think we kind of knew what we had to do, and we played well, and we ended up winning, which is great.
All right, you got to tell me, you had 2 freshmen shoot rounds in the 60s. How crazy is that? And not just any round. It was yesterday in the final round.
Yeah, that's nuts. Our freshmen are great. They came in. They put in a lot of work, and they're awesome people. They're so fun to be around, which is such a big thing. Just the team culture, like everyone loves hanging out with each other, and they've been so important to us all year. They've played a lot, and even Joey hasn't played as much, but he was our sub. Didn't get a chance to play, but he brought the vibes watching. Like he made sure everyone was feeling good. They're just such a crucial part of our team.
Well, you were feeling good all weekend as well, including 66 that you shot on Monday. Tell us about that round that was your best career round you had.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet. First day I thought I played pretty well, and I just missed some short putts, and then I just kind of got it going a little bit on that front 9, and just playing pretty solid, hit it in some good spots, and made a couple long putts, and it was just really good. It was such a good feeling. Felt like the spring I hadn't really had it and played as well as I wanted to, and to be able to help out the team in that way was so awesome.
Gabe, tell me about what Monday night was like. You guys had the lead. I think it was a 7-shot lead going into the final round. What is there pressure with that? Did you sleep at all Monday night knowing you guys had a big lead?
Yeah, I think there is some pressure. I think we were committed to the process. We'd won twice in the fall, so I think that helped a little bit. And Jake and Rylan obviously both had individual wins, so they had felt some pressure, and they both played last year, and we were right in it last year. So I think they were comfortable with that. And Jake and I roomed together, actually, and we were both up earlier than our alarms. So there was something with that. But the Timberwolves game that night and getting the win was huge, because we just got to watch that, hang out, have some fun. So
that's a good.
That took off some of the pressure.
That's a good relief stress there to see the Wolves win on Monday. When you stepped to the first tee yesterday, what was that? I mean, you've played in some big pressure moments. What was that like, stepping up to the first tee?
Yeah, that was good. It was a little nerve-wracking, but the two guys in my group were great dudes. We talked a little bit, and ended up talking a decent amount throughout the whole round, which really helped.
Do you normally
kind of relieve some pressure a little bit?
Do you normally do that, or you stay to yourself?
It kind of depends. This sounds bad, but it really just depends on who's in the group. Like if I don't like talking to him, I'm not going to talk to him. But there's a lot of good guys in the conference, and so it's good to have a chat. And you like a lot of like the South Dakota Jack that I played with from Alex. So you grow up playing summer tournaments with them, so you have good relationships with them.
So there was a couple of crazy shots yesterday, a couple of chip-ins. I think Rylan made like a 65-footer. Are you hearing that stuff, and are you automatically thinking, hey, that's good news for us?
Yeah, we when I was on 15, it's a par 5, I hit into a bush, had taken unplayable, so not good. And 17 is running right next to it.
Okay.
And our assistant coach Becker Holtz was helping me out, and Andrew had hit his shot from like 100-ish yards, I think. And Beck's watching it, and Beck's like, it went in. And then Andrew's all hype, and then Beck's like, oh, good shot. Just like no emotion. And then a little bit later, we hear a big scream and from 18, which is a hole or two away. And Rylan had a lot of people watching, so we assumed it was for him. So we did hear that. And then it's just a good feeling when you know the guys have finished well. Like, I think we played the last 2 holes 7 under as a team, which was awesome. Yeah, it really comes down to those last 4 holes out there. And we played them pretty well.
I remember last year at Moorhead when Petrie won, he had everybody from Fertile there. Is that the same thing that happened this week for you guys?
It's the same thing. Every tournament, it feels like, especially the big ones, the entire town is there. It's actually so awesome.
Because there were literally 50 people behind the 18th green at Moorhead Country Club last.
Yeah.
And when I was reading about it yesterday, that's the first image, Gabe, that went in my mind. Like, it seemed like the traveling army was back for him again.
Yeah, they were. It was sweet.
So when you're out there, can you follow where you're at? Like, do you know, or is it something you don't want to know in terms of the leaderboard?
It kind of depends. Some people are a little different. I know Carter White, one of the freshmen on our team, he's like, I'm walking down the fairway, I'm refreshing every time. I didn't know. I didn't want to know at all because it wasn't going to change how I played it.
Yeah.
I think I saw our coaches on the last 4 holes like 2 or 3 times, and they never said like, hey, we need a few shots here. So I felt decent about that. And then as I was walking down 18, I saw we were up 5, and that was pretty awesome.
What was that moment like after wrapping up, knowing you guys had won?
That was really sweet. It was just really cool to be with all the guys, and everyone had family out there, so be able to celebrate with them. Everyone was just super pumped. Feel like the last few years we've really knocked on the door, and it was nice to get it done.
Runner-up finish last year. How much was that in the back of everybody's head that you guys just were out of this last year, finished second to get over the hump this year?
Yeah, obviously we lost some seniors at the end of last year, which were a really important part of the team. But I think we always knew, we had it in us. And if we just kept putting in the work and the time that we could get it done.
We had you on 2 years ago when you announced you were transferring. I'm interested for you personally, how satisfied are you that you made this decision? You had great success in Division III. I think I could play Division I golf. To have this payoff, what does this mean to you?
Yeah, that was sweet. Obviously, I love my time at Concordia. But moving up last year, didn't play as well as I wanted to. And then this year, played a little bit better, which was nice. And just the relationships you create are awesome. Like Rylan and Pete and all the freshmen, like these are lifelong friends. So that's just been really, really special to me. But to be able to win and finish it off as a senior is really, really awesome.
Tell me about Dr. Miller coming in. What has that been like as a coach, and what did you know about him, and what is he like as a coach for you to get used to as a senior?
Yeah, it's been good. Obviously, he coached at Bemidji. I hadn't met him before that. But obviously, he comes in wanting to do stuff his way, and we come in with how things were. And so the mesh of that has actually been really good. Yeah, he's been a really important part of the team, and I think he just brings some good vibes out on the course, and it's just awesome to have him out there.
Now, for people that don't know, there is a actual selection show. That's today, 1 o'clock on the Golf Channel. You guys, though, are going to be in the air, so you're going to know what's happening or not till you land?
I don't know exactly what time it is, but we're on the Delta flight, so hopefully we'll be able to watch on the TV and see what happens. No videos though, like the college basketball selection show. We won't have any.
Well, you got to get somebody on the airplane to take a video of you guys watching, right? You can do that. Right?
Yeah. We could get some parents to do that.
So, for people that don't know, Gabe, how does this work now that your team is advancing on? What happens at regionals in a couple weeks?
So I think there are 5 regionals or 6. I'm not entirely sure, but there are 15 teams, and the top 4 or 5 teams then move on to nationals. So you don't have to win nationals, but you do have to play well in regionals to keep going.
And there are courses all over the place. You got Georgia, North Carolina. You were telling me off air, you think you saw that Texas maybe where you guys are heading?
Yeah, I believe so.
So that'd be the Traditions Club in Bryan, Texas. There's Columbus, Ohio, Oregon, or Arizona. You go right back to Arizona. You'd be okay with that, right?
Yeah, down to Tucson, I believe.
To extend your golf career here another couple weeks, what's that mean to you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just really sweet. Obviously, no one ever wants to be done. And to be able to get another crack at it in 2 more weeks is super awesome.
Now, I was guessing this. You're the authority. Have you or any of the guys played a competitive round around here at all this spring?
We have not. No, our closest tournament around here in the spring was Iowa. So that was like an 8-hour drive. So we have not played any competitive golf up in Fargo.
I guess how much more satisfying is to make this happen that you've done it all indoors practicing and then to go and do it, what you just did the last 3 days.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think some of the other teams from the conference obviously are in a similar boat to us, but then there are other teams farther south that get to play pretty much year round. But yeah, it's really satisfying. You get less time, and then you go up and you just kind of want it more, which is really sweet. For the people who have seen the indoor facility and know football happens in there, tell us in golf, can you really like rip it in there? Like how well can you actually swing inside the indoor facility? Yeah, it's actually really good. We have a sim and a putting green, which is nice. But then in the football facility, you can take full shots because there's like a netting that comes down, so you get to see the ball fly for like 100 yards. Okay. And then the wedges is actually really good because it's like a full flight with the wedge. So it's actually really sweet in there. I mean, you get the music playing; it's pretty fun. That's remarkable to make this happen. So again, you got a flight coming out. I don't want to hold you up here to make you late for your to meet with the guys here. But tell us what's the next couple days like before figuring out where you're going to go in a couple weeks. Yeah, I don't know. I think we'll get back. We have finals next week, and I think some guys have classes to go to Thursday, Friday. But yeah, just kind of back to the routine. Go to lift, practice, and just kind of keep the game sharp. Did it feel not necessarily surreal, but hey, we get to keep playing? That wasn't guaranteed when we got on the airplane to come down here, but now it is happening. What's the emotions like, Gabe, this morning about that? Yeah, it's really cool. I guess I try not to think about it when we were playing because it's one of those things where it's like you can get pretty sad about it when you realize you're going to be done. And if you put that pressure on yourself to like you're going to extend your career, it's not. I just didn't think it would be a good thing. So I try not to think about it, but I think it's just really cool. It's probably the best way to say it. I appreciate the time, bud. Safe travels back. Congratulations. Who's got the trophy right now? Where's that at? I think Coach does. I think he's got it in the van. Well, make sure that's locked there. Safe travels back, man. Thanks for the time. Congrats on a great 3 days, and we'll talk soon, okay? Awesome. Thank you. There he goes. Gabe Benson, Fargo Davies' own North Dakota State Summit League champion golfer. He and his teammates winning it for the Bison yesterday by 6 shots over Denver and their swan song in the Summit League. So here's the deal on the selection show for you golf rubes out there. You already know what I'm talking about. Others that are interested, later today, the selection show is 1 o'clock on the Golf Channel. There are 6 regionals across the country. Athens, Georgia, the University of Georgia's golf course is one. Bermuda Run Country Club in North Carolina is another. The Traditions Club in Bryan, Texas, that's where Gabe has seen that the Bison may likely be going. Columbus, Ohio, which is Jack Nicklaus's golf course. Not the one where the Memorial is, but another one that's pretty darn tough. Corvallis, Oregon, Trysting Tree Golf Club, and Marana in Arizona, which Gabe said out of Tucson, the Gallery Golf Club. And how it works, 81 teams and 45 individuals beginning in regional competition for a spot in the championship finals. Teams will be split into 6 different regionals. The low 5 teams and low individual from each region will qualify for a spot in the championship finals. 30 teams and 6 individuals will go to the finals. That's May 29th to Wednesday, June the 3rd. That's in Carlsbad, California. So the Bison, when they get sent to whatever region they're going to go to, now can they be in the top 5? You're in the top 5, you get to go to the national tournament. That would be equivalent to making it to the Sweet 16 in basketball equivalent here. You're in the tournament. Now can you get to the next stage? That's going to take some outrageous golf.
And we'll see. But congratulations to them. And we'll be following coming up in a couple weeks' time. We'll let you know tomorrow where they ended up going with the selection show happening after we're off the air. All right, we'll break. We come back. We got our Game 2 preview tonight. Wolves, Spurs, facing this guy again. Chris Finch had some comments about how many goaltends that they missed. That's coming up. We come back. Welcome back, everybody. Our thanks to Gabe Benson for giving us a few minutes there. Good stuff there on the Bison golf team. All right, we got Game 2 coming up tonight in San Antonio. It's 8:30 start. ESPN has it for you for Wolves, Spurs. Now, I only show you the next montage of what Wemby dunks, or excuse me, blocks that he had. We can show you a couple dunks. Not to give you the shell shock of seeing it again, but to hear something from Chris Finch of what happened in Game 1. Wembanyama was amazing. Had a triple-double. You're going to see it here. I mean, 12 blocks that he had in Game 1. And some of them have come under the scrutiny of the Timberwolves staff, namely their head coach and Chris Finch, saying that the referees missed first an obvious foul on Rudy Gobert, but they believe that there was at least 3 or 4 times when the Wolves should have been credited for a basket. Now, you could say that's sour grapes after the fact. Granted, the Wolves won the game, but this is the ultimate rim protector, maybe the best rim protector in the history of basketball, coming in at 7'4", likely 7'5", and able to swat anything that comes around him. This is what Chris Finch had to say yesterday when asked on if there were any goaltends.
Just say there were 4. But when we looked at them, at least 4 of them were goaltending, maybe even a 5th. It's kind of, to me, it's a little alarming that none of them were called. And, here's a generational shot blocker who's 7'6", who goes after everything, and there's like no heightened awareness that these blocks could be, goaltends. I mean, the third possession of the game was a goaltending, and it was a clean, obvious one. So let's just say there were 4. That's 8 points. The value of 8 points in an NBA game is massive, right? That's also, 33% of his blocks were goaltending uncalled. And, if I were to give you a 33% raise, you'd like that, right?
Like that. If you got a 33% raise, why wouldn't you say, let's go? You take that every time. Wolves have the 1-0 lead. We'll see if they can go up 2-0 tonight. Finch was asked whether the Wolves sent the clips in for review to the league, as they're allowed to do. He said later they had not. He added, I don't think that needs to be communicated. They're pretty obvious when you look at them. I'm sure the league's doing their own evaluation of the games. Now, it certainly seemed afterwards like there was one block late in the game in the fourth quarter where I believe it was on Julius Randle or maybe it was McDaniels. The ball got swatted out. Wolves got it back, swung it over to Mike Conley, cans a corner triple. That's the ultimate payback, or the ultimate, hey, we're not going to let this bug you. Jaden McDaniels he's had some great sound bites this entire postseason. Says you just got to act like he's not there. I mean, he's going to get blocks. He's the tallest person in the world. It's not entirely not accurate there. Rudy Gobert added, I wish I get that kind of treatment as well. He was a big presence. That's saying it kindly there for a guy that he has to go up against every time up and down the floor. Looking at the box score, the Wolves recovered 5 of those blocks, and it led to 6 second-chance points. 3 of those coming on that Mike Conley corner 3 to put the Wolves up 9 in the fourth. 2 of those extended Wolves possessions also resulted in fouls for guard Stephon Castle, who eventually fouled out of the game, who might be San Antonio's third best player. If it goes Wemby, De'Aaron Fox, Castle was Rookie of the Year as well. He's awfully, awfully good. That's something to watch tonight. Now, so the missive has been sent by the Wolves and by their head coach to keep an eye on this. They have laid the gauntlet down to say, okay, it's out there. We'll see. Scott Foster is the head referee tonight, who's normally been in the Wolves' ire over the last couple of postseasons for either alleged missed or calls that he should have made that were not, or he did make that shouldn't have been called. We'll see if they're a little more quick trigger to be calling any goaltends on Wembanyama tonight. There's a couple in Finch's right, and this is not being get my Wolves colored glasses on here that were blatantly obvious. One, Terrence Shannon Jr. lays it up and he hits it off the backboard. You can't do that. That's goaltend. It was blatant, and that they just didn't call it. Whether they missed it somehow or just decided that wasn't a goaltend, that was odd to see. Game 2 tonight, as I mentioned, 8:30 on ESPN, and then travel day tomorrow, and then game number 3 back at Target Center on Friday night. It's every other day for the first 5 games of this series. It's not until game 6 where they'll have a couple of days off before they would play that. So pretty easy to get used to that over the next couple here, that we're going to have games going every other night, at least in this series, for the foreseeable future. Now, can they get another one? Can you get greedy and not just be satisfied you got one? Because this reads like, if you were objectively just watching this not knowing, you thought, well, the Wolves lost on Monday night. No, they won the game, and yet they still had 12 blocks, and yet that's the thing, they still won. That's the different feel or the vibe about this. Can you go and get greedy and get 2 of them before you're coming back home? Boy, that would certainly alter the series. You remember 2 years ago in the semifinals, Wolves won the first 2 games on the road against the Denver Nuggets. We know it went the distance, but they have done this before to try and go up 2-0. We'll see what happens coming up later tonight. We'll preview that before we wrap up the show. Let's break. We come back. How about some football chatter from on the road? Dan Larson will join us to recap Bison's spring football, some guys he caught his eye, and a look ahead to the upcoming summer months. That's coming up when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. Final half hour here on a busy Wednesday show. Mentioned we were chatting some football earlier in the show. We are in the first week of May, which football's never far from the brains here, at least in our program. We had Grant Olson in last week to chat with us. We got to make sure we get equal time to the other side of the ball. North Dakota State offensive coordinator Dan Larson joins us. I'm going to say with the Ultimate Warrior intro from parts unknown on the road this morning recruiting. Give us maybe the 1,000-foot view of how spring football went. Look ahead, obviously, to fall camp, which he's gonna hate me for talking about that since his vacation we done. You're on the road, so give us the overview of what can you be doing right now on the road?
Yeah, well, we're still heavy into trying to continue to recruit, evaluate this 2027 recruiting class, and even guys when we have players committed, obviously it's so far away from December. You're doing everything you can to continue to stay on top of that, but what's it look like behind those guys a little bit if all of a sudden, there's a decommitment or something along those lines as well too. So we're still out, watching workouts, having the opportunity to talk to some of these guys in schools in the 27 class, and then always, communicating with high school coaches on what are some of these upcoming players as well too, 2028, 2029. Had a coach this morning tell me he's really excited about his 2030 class, which is 8th graders that are going to become freshmen. So, from our standpoint, we're certainly full steam ahead on this 27 group, but, the future gets here quicker than what you can anticipate and believe. So we're always waiting and learning about those schools as well, too.
All right. So when a guy says, I'm really excited about my 2030 class, what do you say to that?
It's why I could never be a high school coach, I don't think. I'll never forget one of my good friends in the high school coaches in northwestern Wisconsin told me, we're going to be really good when these 7th and 8th graders get to be, juniors and seniors. It's like, you can't recruit and bridge that gap. You're just doing everything you can to try to win 6 games to get into the playoffs, and then you're biding your time until. And to his credit, when those guys were sophomores, juniors, and seniors, they made a run and won a state championship. So, but foreshadowing your 7th and 8th graders, it's crazy.
I guess the wait was worth it, right? But it paid off. You just gotta wait though. Holy cow, that's wild.
You had to deal with the comments and the heckling from the bleachers because you knew what was coming up. So
I guess that's if you could take it, then you can go ahead and spike the football when you get the result at the end. I'm interested now on the road, and you and I talked about this when you were in studio with us a few months back. Now that the Mountain West move is out there, how different are the conversations you're having with guys that are committed or ones you're trying to get to commit?
Yeah, I don't know that the conversation changes all that much. The one part of it that's interesting is that the high school coaches now want to know, like, okay, how's this going to impact your high school recruiting?
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys going to be, are you going to be in the transfer portal more now? So I don't know if there's like that stigma out there with the FBS that's different from an FCS standpoint. The players, I think they just all want to keep playing ball. I really do. And I think it's still, us not having obviously gone through it for a full year, who we are at NDSU is not really going to change. So those conversations haven't changed, but it's interesting listening to those high school coaches want to know, like, hey, are you still going to be coming through here every year? Are you still going to be recruiting the high school student athlete? Until there's a reason for us not to. This is how our program is going to operate.
I asked Grant this last week, Dan, when he was here. Are you seeing any teams out there or a lot less in terms of high school recruiting these days?
I think they're starting to in the Midwest. I think they're starting to see the value of that you can still go in and recruit the high school and you can recruit the high school player. I don't think you're dealing with maybe some of the other stuff that comes right now with a little bit of the recruiting part of it. So maybe it's a little bit more of an uptick, I think, in the Midwest. But, certainly from a Missouri Valley standpoint, that was always one of the things about being out spring recruiting. You were going to see every, team that were in these states. You're going to be out recruiting. I think they all valued the high school coach. I think they valued the developing of relationships. So I haven't seen, if anything, it stayed the same in the Midwest. And I think you're starting to see even more schools at the FBS level, at the Power 4 level, even coming into the Midwest a little bit as well, too. So I don't think I've seen a downturn. I think I've seen actually an uptick from that standpoint, at least in the spring. Now, how that is, January and December, if they can get out, but in the spring, for sure, they're out here.
I know last week you were back in the office looking through cut-ups. Give me, I guess, first, though, before we center in on some specific guys, just evaluation what you saw out of the month of spring football.
I thought offensively we started slow. I just, whether that was because we were working some new guys into some positions, you obviously lost a lot of talent, so there's going to be new guys that are going to jump in there. I thought the middle to the end was a little bit more of what we had expected. I mean, obviously we know we're never going to be perfect in the spring. We're going to demand it and we're going to coach to it. But I thought I saw the response from our players, the improvement on a daily, weekly basis, I thought was there from about practice 5 and on. And, I told this to the guys when I met with the offense last Wednesday. I appreciated the amount of reps that we had this spring was higher than where we were last year. So their willingness to go out there and continue to double rep, the willingness for guys to go out there and play different positions in order to keep moving the program forward. The effort that our guys had was the standard of NDSU football. And, don't back down from a challenge. Don't care if it's 18 reps while the other group is going on and there's only 5 O-linemen down there, we're going to do it. I thought from that standpoint and overall in the spring, like we were practicing how we're supposed to practice here.
This is your first, I think, extended work with Nathan Hayes. Give us your evaluation of how that went for this past month.
Yeah, I thought, Nate would tell you the same thing. I thought, started a little bit slow, but it's all of a sudden what happens when you go from, okay, he's only known spring ball, as a number 2 guy or as a number 3 guy. And all of a sudden now this is a big deal, and this is a big part. You're the main cog now in the operation in terms of being the starting cornerback. And what I saw from his preparation standpoint, again from practice 5 on, was was what you need. And I think he continues to understand the amount of growth that he needs to have here over the course of the summer in terms of continuing to elevate himself so the program and the offense elevates it as well too. So it's more than just rolling the ball out there and being QB1. There's a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff. You got to take a lot of ownership. I think he started to recognize and realize that maybe even a little bit more than probably what he anticipated. And I think that's why our offense improved throughout the spring, because he was improving as well too.
Is DJ Scott bigger, Dan? He looked bigger. I think I asked you this when I saw you at practice one day, because he looks bigger. He certainly looks more confident out there. Was that accurate?
Yeah, confidence, I think through the roof. Obviously, when you join our program in June, we're going to have a few guys that are going to do that right now, right? Like that, you've got to jump in with both feet, and then you just kind of keep learning and growing. And I think to DJ's credit, he did. But I think it's a year in the weight room with Knapp. And, certainly adding, Coach Kramer to that mix, but then also Matt Jacobs here this offseason as well, too. I think his body has changed. He's moving better than he did a year ago at this time, or almost a year ago at this time when he joined the program. So, yeah, I think all that's leading to a different level of confidence with him, and you can definitely see that in how he's running, pass blocking, just his overall, I think, comfortability within our offense.
Jackson Williams looked like he's going to be the dude. We already saw glimpses of it the last 2 years, but what does that connection look like with him and Hayes that you saw throughout the spring?
Yeah, it's one that we got to have continue to grow, and then I think you got to get Mackay and some of these other guys out there as well too. The best part about Jackson is that for our younger receivers, I don't think any different than what he got from Raja and Bryce and Chris Harris. You just see what it takes to work and be good, and it doesn't happen by accident. I mean, you put the sweat equity into it, and then you get something out of it. And that was what I saw with Jackson. To be able to play him at 3 different positions throughout the course of the spring, to be able to put him into some different spots to challenge him a little bit, but also, hey, we know this is going to be maybe number 1 read or number 2 read for Nate, and get him into those spots that he can progress to that. Those guys got to keep building it, but what they did this spring together, I think, was a good glimpse of hopefully what's more to come in the fall.
All right, I can't let you go without an offensive line question. I got one on center. Gage Schmidt looked like he was getting plenty of reps at number 1. I know he got put on scholarship, which is a huge deal for him. What do we make of the Mankato kid that potentially could be your starting center come August 29th?
I think what you make out of it is, man, is it awesome to continue to watch guys in our program stay with it and believe in what we're doing and just keep getting better. The growth that he had, I think, from after last season to what he did in the spring, changed his body. He got stronger again in the weight room. I think he's gotten a little faster and a little bit quicker in his feet. But then I think even a little bit of the, hey, this is the communication aspect of it. You're going to have to get used to talking on the line of scrimmage. You're going to have to, like those little things, I think at times you take for granted when you've got somebody like Trent in there that's been used to doing it. I'm excited for Gage, and the other parts of it you probably didn't see. I mean, he played a little bit of guard and he didn't look out of place there either. Yeah. So I think he's putting himself in a great position to compete for, time, but then also he's putting himself in a great position to compete to be a starter come this fall.
How good do you feel about your top 5 right now? I know last year I was bugging about this all the time, and it fluctuated all year. You feel differently about the 5 right now as opposed to this time last year?
So I feel good about 7 and 8 guys. I really do. And I think the competition that we're going to have between 9 and 12 for travel is going to be awesome. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But I think you've got a lot of position flexibility in there. Noah Stummis had an awesome spring. Same thing. Played him at 2 different positions, played him at both tackle spots, had him jump in there. We kind of let Kene just play on the right side. We kind of let Ryan just play on the left side. I think that helps with their confidence. But Jack Lewinsky, Nate Schneckelhoff, we're seeing some guys. And certainly, the continued growth of Nate Tosted, the continued growth of Austin Schultz. You're never going to just get 5 a guy answer from me, right? But I think what we're seeing is we're seeing guys improve. And then, we got a couple guys that we take for granted because they've, been on the line. But, Josh and Emp, I mean, both those guys missed a little bit of time this spring. And I don't know that, we just kept moving forward a little bit with it, it's a credit to Dylan, Coach Shimura, and it's a credit to Taylor Lucas, who we added here in the offseason from a coaching standpoint as well, too. They've got these guys heading in the right direction. I'm excited about it. We've got some young players that are chomping at the bit.
I'm just glad you take my phone call now after 2 more guys in the NFL. I'm sure you. How many more NFL guys called you after this draft process went through?
Well, none. Which is they shouldn't call me. They're calling the players they should call, which is the actual players. That's who they should call. We're only good coaches because we have good players. So, super excited for both of them. And they both had different paths in order to get here. But I think I made this comment the other day with Sam and Andy. It's more just how proud you are of these guys that they're willing to stay with something that is we take for granted nowadays, which is guys staying with one program and sticking with it. And I hope it's a continued great example for guys, that either get a carrot dangled in front of them or believe they have to go somewhere else in order to chase their dreams. We know it's going to happen, but we also know what can happen when guys choose to stay for all the right reasons, because they know they're going to be believed in here, coached really, really hard. But, whatever your dreams and aspirations are, you can achieve them here at NDSU. And really proud and excited for those guys. Can't wait to listen to them, how rookie mini camps and the starts of these OTAs go for both of them.
If I were to tell a young Dan Larson this is what the grind would be, you still sign up for this? Like, hey, I'm driving around. I'm not going to say where. Parts unknown. Like, this is what, if 20 years ago, this is what you'd be doing. You sign up for that?
I'd sign up for this part of it for sure. This is, when we got into coaching, it was all about relationships.
Yeah.
And, the talking with high school coaches, recruiting players. I mean, trying to sell somebody on why McAllister College is the greatest football program in the country, and finding 5 guys that said, Coach, I believe you, and I sign up for that part of it all the time. It's just you adapt and adjust to what college football is becoming, and maybe it's now some of these lines of communication change just a little bit. But, hey, we're still telling, Ken and Nene why this is the greatest place in the world and come play here, when he's got a decision to make. No different than right now, I'm having a conversation with an 18-year-old about why he should choose and believe and trust NDSU with his dreams and his aspirations and his goals. And I'd still sign up for that part of it every day of the week, for sure.
It's great to see you, bud. Safe travels out there. We'll talk soon. If I don't see you, have a little bit of a nice break, and we'll catch up down the road, okay?
Can't wait, Dom. Appreciate you.
There he goes, Dan Larson, NDSU offensive coordinator from Parts Unknown, recruiting today. Give us a little overview of how the Bison offense looks heading into the offseason now with fall camp just about 2 months away. Kind of crazy to say that out loud. All right, we'll take our final break. We come back. We'll put a bow on things, get you ready. Game 2 tonight. Wolves, Spurs, Twins are in action. It's a fun sports Wednesday. We'll do that one. Hot Mic Wraps on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com after this. All right, wrapping things up here on a Wednesday. Tomorrow, we're expected to have South Dakota State Athletic Director Justin Sell join us. That'll be interesting and fun. Always good to talk with him. Yesterday, if you missed it, the Jackrabbits announced their football schedule for 2026, which includes a 12th game against a Division I opponent. They scheduled the Stetson Hatters out of the Pioneer Football League to be their opening game on August the 29th. And I'm here to tell you, Stetson finished dead last in the Sagarin ratings in 2025. That is inconsequential to South Dakota State. They wanted to play a Division I game. So kudos to them on getting that done, because I raked them over the coals 2 years ago. The Jack fans wanted none of it because they were so excited to play Augustana. What did end up happening? You missed out on having the 2nd seed in the FCS playoffs that year. After the Bison lost to South Dakota, SDSU thought, well, they should have been the 2 seed, but they didn't play all Division I opponents. And they ended up being seated behind NDSU, who had the head-to-head over the Jackrabbits. I don't know what they paid. I imagine it was exorbitant. That's the going rate to get games. Now, if you're a Jacks fan today and you're looking at your home schedule, that now includes Stetson. It includes New Haven, a new member to FCS. That includes Murray State. It includes Eastern Illinois. It includes Indiana State as 5 of the 7 home games. Woof. That's not great. Youngstown State and South Dakota are the other 2. That's great. But Brungard coming to town will be fun. And South Dakota's a rivalry game. But those other ones, those 5 I just mentioned, yowza, those teams are going to be at the very bottom of FCS football. Something we'll discuss with the athletic director tomorrow on the show. Hey, I'm glad they got 12. I'm glad they got 12 D1 games. You know what? Do not be playing any more D2s or D3s. Do not do that anymore. I'm glad they didn't. All right, let's do some What to Watch before we get out of here. All right, What to Watch brought to us by our friends at Northwestern Mutual. Here we go. We got Game 2 tonight. Wolves and Spurs, 8:30 on ESPN. We'll see if Minnesota can go up 2 games to none and what Wemby has in store for them tonight coming up at 8:30. Twins and Nats at 5:30 on Twins TV. We mentioned Bailey Ober throwing for Minnesota tonight. We'll see if the Twins can take the first 2 games of that series. And Game 1, Canadiens and the Sabres on TNT at 6 in that series. And also don't forget the NCAA Golf Selection Show at 1 o'clock on the Golf Channel. We'll see where the Bison will be going for the NCAA Regionals in a couple weeks. Our thanks to Drew Trafton, to our guy Goose Howell, to Dan Larson, of course, to Gabe Benson. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay on WDAY+. Have a great Wednesday, everybody. Thanks for joining us. See you back here tomorrow.